echoes of the frontier. Showdown at dawn. In the scorching heat of 1860 Texas, the notorious Thorn Gang held dominion with an iron fist. Led by the enigmatic Clint Snake Eyes Marlowe, they were feared for their ruthless tactics and cunning schemes. His trusted lieutenants, Jack Iron Fist Reynolds and Sam Quickdraw Thompson, were loyal to a fault, following Marlowe into the darkest depths of the frontier. Their latest endeavor, a daring train heist, was thwarted by a young renegade known only as Wildfire Will Roberts. He absconded with their ill-gotten gains, vanishing into the unforgiving wilderness. Determined to reclaim what was rightfully theirs, the Thorn Gang set out on a perilous journey, tracking Roberts deep into the heart of a remote mountain range, some 500 miles away. Thompson hesitated at the precipice of this dangerous pursuit. The risks were grave, the law hot on their trail. But Marlowe and Reynolds brooked no dissent, their threats of abandonment echoing in Thompson's mind. Their relentless pursuit eventually led them to a dusty crossroads, where fate intervened in the form of a traveling salesman and his peculiar companions. The gang watched with wary interest as the salesman peddled his wares, accompanied by a ragtag group of performers. Reynolds raised an eyebrow at the unusual sight. Well, I'll be darned. Ain't seen a spectacle like this in quite some time. Marlowe's lips curled into a wry smile. Looks like we stumbled upon a traveling circus, boys. Quite the diversion, I must say. The salesman, a wiry figure with a gleam in his eye, attempted to captivate the gang's attention with his sales pitch. Step right up, gentlemen. Witness the world's wonders right here in your backyard. But the gang's amusement turned to frustration when one of the performers began to mimic them, his antics bordering on insolence. Thompson's hand drifted towards his holster. Hold your tongue, varmint. You're treading on dangerous ground. The performer froze, his eyes wide with fear as Thompson loomed over him like a specter of death. Marlowe's laughter cut through the tension like a knife. Seems like this little sideshow has some bite to it. But enough of this nonsense. We have business to attend to. As they prepared to depart, a cloud of dust rose on the horizon, heralding the arrival of a posse of lawmen, their badges glinting ominously in the harsh sunlight. Reynolds cursed under his breath, his grip tightening on the reins. Looks like troubles. Headed our way, boys. Marlowe's gaze hardened as he surveyed the approaching posse. No sheriff's gonna stand between us and what rightfully belongs to us. We ride, and we ride hard. With a thunderous roar, the Thorn Gang spurred their horses into action, leaving the circus performers in their wake. As they galloped into the desert, the sun beat down upon them like a relentless foe, casting long shadows across the arid landscape. But as they rode, their thoughts were consumed by visions of vengeance and the elusive outlaw who dared to defy them. Little did they know that their journey would lead them into the heart of darkness, where betrayal lurked in the shadows and danger lay around every bend. As the Thorn Gang rode deeper into the rugged terrain, the landscape seemed to conspire against them. The mountains loomed like ancient titans, their craggy peaks casting ominous shadows across the desert floor. Dust devils danced in the distance, whispering secrets of treachery and deceit. Marlowe's steely gaze scanned the horizon, his mind focused on the task at hand. Keep your eyes peeled, boys. Roberts ain't gonna be easy to find in these parts. Reynolds nodded, his jaw clenched with determination. Ain't no mountain high enough to keep us from getting what's rightfully ours. But even as they pressed forward, danger lurked around every bend. A sudden ambush by a rival gang left them battered and bloodied, their resolve tested like never before. Yet still, they pressed on, driven by a thirst for revenge that burned hotter than the desert sun. As night fell, they made camp beneath the watchful gaze of the stars, their weary bodies craving rest, but their minds restless with anticipation. Around the flickering campfire, they shared stories of past victories and narrow escapes, finding solace in the camaraderie of their shared struggle. But their respite was short-lived. As dawn broke, they were awakened by the sound of hoofbeats echoing through the canyon. With weapons drawn, they prepared for battle, their hearts pounding with adrenaline-fueled fury. To their surprise, it was not an enemy that emerged from the shadows, but a lone rider bearing a message from an unexpected source. It was Roberts himself, offering a truce in exchange for safe passage through Thorn territory. Marlowe's eyes narrowed as he read the letter, his mind racing with possibilities. Seems our friend Roberts is willing to parley. But can we trust him? Reynolds scoffed, his voice tinged with skepticism. Trust ain't exactly his strong suit, if you ask me. But Marlowe saw an opportunity amidst the chaos, a chance to end the bloodshed and reclaim what was rightfully theirs. With a steely resolve, he made a decision that would change the course of their journey forever. Prepare the horses, he commanded. We ride to meet Roberts at dawn. As the Thorn Gang set out to confront their adversary, the desert seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what fate had in store for these hardened outlaws. Little did they know that their final showdown would test their bonds of loyalty and honor, pushing them to the brink of destruction and redemption. The desert air hung heavy with tension as the Thorn Gang rode towards the rendezvous point, each member grappling with their own doubts and fears. Marlowe, ever the strategist, kept a watchful eye on the horizon, his mind calculating every possible outcome. As they neared the designated meeting spot, the sun began its ascent, casting a golden hue across the rugged landscape. The silence was palpable, broken only by the rhythmic cadence of their horses' hooves. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the horizon, silhouetted against the rising sun. It was Roberts, his presence commanding and defiant, a lone wolf amidst a sea of uncertainty. Marlowe signaled for his men to halt, his hand hovering over the hilt of his revolver. He studied Roberts intently, searching for any sign of deception. Roberts dismounted, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. I come alone, he called out, his voice carrying across the desert air. To parley as agreed. Marlowe exchanged a wary glance with Reynolds and Thompson before dismounting himself. With cautious steps, he approached Roberts, his gaze never wavering. What's to stop us from putting a bullet in your back and reclaiming what's rightfully ours? Marlowe's words were sharp, his tone laced with skepticism. Roberts met his gaze, unwavering. Because you know that would only lead to more bloodshed. I'm offering you a chance to end this feud peacefully. The tension hung thick between them, the weight of their past grievances casting a long shadow over the desert sands. After a long moment of contemplation, Marlowe nodded. Very well. Let's hear what you have to say. And so, beneath the unforgiving gaze of the desert sun, the Thorn Gang and Wildfire Will Roberts came together to broker a truce. It was a fragile peace, born of necessity rather than trust, but for now, it was enough. As they parted ways, each man carrying the weight of their decisions, the echoes of the frontier whispered tales of redemption and reconciliation, reminding them that even amidst the chaos of the Wild West, there was still room for mercy and forgiveness. The truce was held, at least for a time. The Thorn Gang returned to their hideout, their minds heavy with the weight of their encounter with Roberts. Marlowe brooded over their new arrangement, wary of Roberts' intentions but also recognizing the opportunity it presented for a semblance of peace. Days turned into weeks, and the frontier settled into an uneasy calm. The Thorn Gang resumed their usual activities, albeit with a newfound caution. Marlowe kept a close watch on Roberts' movements, never fully trusting the outlaw's intentions. But just as the desert sun gives way to the cool embrace of night, peace in the Wild West was fleeting. Rumors began to circulate of a new player in town, a rival gang looking to stake their claim on Thorn territory. Marlowe's brow furrowed as he contemplated this new threat. The fragile peace they had brokered with Roberts now hung in the balance, overshadowed by the looming specter of conflict. With tensions mounting, Marlowe knew that they needed to act swiftly to protect their interests. He called a meeting of his most trusted lieutenants, Reynolds and Thompson, to discuss their next move. "We can't afford to let this new gang gain a foothold in our territory," Marlowe declared, his voice grave with determination. "We need to send them a message, one they won't soon forget." Reynolds nodded in agreement, his fists clenched with resolve. "We can't show any sign of weakness. Not now, not ever." Thompson's gaze was steely as he spoke. "But what about Roberts? If we make a move against this new gang, he might see it as a breach of our truce." Marlowe sighed, the weight of their predicament bearing down on him like a leaden yoke. "We'll have to tread carefully. We can't afford to provoke Roberts into turning against us." And so, with a plan forming in his mind, Marlowe set about orchestrating their next move. It was a delicate dance, navigating the treacherous waters of frontier politics, while keeping one eye trained on their elusive adversary, Wildfire Will Roberts. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desert landscape, the Thorn Gang prepared to face their greatest challenge yet. For in the heart of the Wild West, where lawlessness reigns supreme, survival depends not just on strength of arms, but on the cunning of the mind and the bonds of loyalty forged in the crucible of adversity. In the weeks that followed, tensions on the frontier reached fever pitch. The arrival of the rival gang brought with it a wave of violence and chaos, threatening to engulf the entire region in a maelstrom of bloodshed. Marlowe, Reynolds, and Thompson watched from the shadows as the situation escalated, their minds churning with plans and counterplans. Every move they made was calculated, and every decision weighed against the ever-present specter of betrayal. But amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged. Roberts, ever the wild card, reached out to Marlowe with an offer of assistance. It was a risky gambit, one that could either solidify their fragile alliance or shatter it once and for all. With little choice but to trust in Robert's word, Marlowe and his men forged an uneasy alliance with their former adversary. Together, they faced off against the encroaching threat, their guns blazing and their resolve unyielding. In the end, it was not just their strength of arms that saw them through, but their ability to set aside their differences and stand united in the face of adversity. The rival gang was driven back, their ambitions thwarted by the combined might of the Thorn Gang and Wildfire Will Roberts. As the dust settled and the echoes of gunfire faded into the distance, a tentative peace settled over the frontier once more. Marlowe, Reynolds, and Thompson knew that the truce with Roberts was fragile, a delicate balance teetering on the edge of a knife. But for now, it was enough. And so, beneath the vast expanse of the desert sky, the Thorn Gang and their unlikely ally rode off into the sunset, their destinies intertwined by the harsh realities of life on the frontier. For in the Wild West, where danger lurks around every corner, and betrayal is always just a heartbeat away, survival depends not just on strength and cunning, but on the bonds of loyalty forged in the crucible of adversity.